Okay. Book of the month, book 5, which is the log cabin. Alright. So we've got standard seams. Let's make sure we've got the fabric. We should have. Hang on, I'll put you there, otherwise you won't be able to see. Alright, 2 A1s. 1, 2. Okay, it's a good start. 2 A3s. 1, 2. 2 A6s. 1, 2. 2 A7s. Alright, 1 and 2. 1 A8. Okay. And 1 A10. Yay, we have all of our fabric. Alright. Now what do we do for construction? Take a long strip. Take the long strip of fabric A8 and the A10 square. That's this one and this one. Pin the right sides together along one side, matching the square but with a slight overhang of the strip, about 1/8 of an inch. Alright. 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch. I'm going to go 1/4 inch. Okay. And it says to pin, so because I have no idea what I'm doing, we're definitely going to pin that. Okay. Use the rotary collar to trim away the overhang. No, hang on. Use the rotary collar to trim away any overhang on the strip on the long side to make it as shown. Okay. Okay. So I'm actually going to pin that a little neater. Keeping my 1/4 inch. Now, because I got that pin in there, I'm just going to flip it that way. Let's see if you can see. Yep. All right, I'm going to take my little one. Make that as straight as possible. I didn't like that, so I don't like that pin. I know how I could do this without that pin. Alright, I'm going to pin it. I'm going to mess it up. I'm going to do that again, but I'm going to pin it really far on this side. As far as possible, still making sure it's straight. I have a 1-inch ruler, so I'm going to use that. And I'm going to make sure that I'm not trimming down my little 10. Okay. That is how I recommend you do that one. Alright. Take this strip trimmed off and align, pin and sew onto blah blah. Pin and sew. Take the strip trimmed off. Am I sewing any of these yet? Hang on. Let me read this. Take the strip trimmed off and align it. Pin and sew. Okay, yes. Matching squares as shown. Take the Right. I reckon we have to sew this first. And then you're going to cut it. All right. I'm trying to figure this out. All right, I'm going to move it to this side. For no other reason than to try and do this properly, I am just going to try and do it like the book does it. So if I move it to that side and then I open it up, my extra bit's going to be on this side. Happy days. Then at once, I got to sew this and then I got to come back. All right, so the moment I sewed this, I realized I was wrong. I've never made a log cabin before and it's not the easiest instruction in the world. Okay, so don't sew that way and sew off the edge. So I'll say that again. So don't do that. Sew across there so that you have a full edge. It'll make sense in a minute. I'm going to fix this. I'm also going to iron these. Okay. Get that out of the way. All right, so I sewed it that way, ironed it, flipped it over. I've got this way. That now matches the picture. So the next instruction says to do this. So in it. So I'm gonna do the same thing before. I'm gonna flip it. And I'm gonna use this ruler. I'm just going to make sure that's as straight as I can. Alright, so then I'm going to sew down that line and open it up. Alright, we've got this. Okay, so I sewed down that line, opened it up. I'm using this little overlap to orientate myself for no other reason than it's still on there. Okay, so the next one says to do the exact same thing. So go this way, pin it, and then trim it off. I would say probably be careful of that though. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Find that to be a little bit easier. Get my line. Don't move the ruler like I just did then. Alright, and I've left that little overhang there. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing and sew down there. And iron it out. Okay, I've made a new discovery. It wants an overhang every time. I don't know why. Which I haven't been doing, so we'll start doing from now on. So, somewhere between 1/4 and 1/8. I can't explain that one. But we're doing it. Alright, I'm going to trim that off. That's my little ruler. A little bit wonky. How am I going to do that? Well, I'm just going to do my level best. Took a little bit off that, that's fine. Alright, I'm going to sew down there. Use the rotary cutter, trim away the overhang on the long strip side to make the inner stone. Okay. Alright, well it is what it is. Alright, I'll be back. I'm solving that. Okay. I don't know what we do with that, so we'll keep that for later. That one went a bit wonky, so I will probably, because I followed that line, I'm probably going to go back and fix that so that that sews straight. Yeah, I don't like that extra little line. I'm going to do some research to whether to see that line's necessary or not, because I'd like that to sew there. All right, well, that's the first little bit. I'm going to pause because I got an appointment, so I will come back and work on the rest of the little bits and try and get my head around this log cabin. Since I've already made a mistake, that's our standard mistake out of the way, and we'll go from there. All right, Mom, we're back. I still need to fix that, so I will do that now. I'm just going to make that a little bit neater so it sits a little bit better, and then we are on to the same thing with this one. Yeah, so a little bit of overhang, cut. So I'll pause between sewing. That's all nice and neat, all these little strips, and then we'll go from there. Are you on? Yep, okay, all right. Well, my thread broke, so I don't want to play with that. That's as good as it's going to get. I think it proceeded to get more wonky after doing that, so we won't be doing that again. All right. So the next colorway fabric on the same side. All right, I'm going to hold it like that because that's how it's supposed to be. And then this one goes here. Yep, that one goes there. Okay. I still have not looked for my mat. All right, since that's already got an extra bit on there, I did not enjoy this process, so it's already got the extra bit. I'm going to take it out and I'm cutting it at the 7. Ooh, I moved then. At this point, I probably would not follow anything I'm doing. I'm not going to say that I think I'm doing the best here. This is just how I'm making it, and I've sewed a lot of blocks in the last week. And I'm probably slacking off on being instruction following, and also there's too many instructions on this one. So I'm going to sew that and follow this background. There are 2 of these though, so maybe you get to a point and you just need more. I don't know. Let's see. All right. So I should move that out of the way. Yep, following. I keep that straight. Yep, this one. That's not how that works. Mum, don't follow my instructions. Wait, you must have to. No, that's right. Follow the first one. That doesn't work. Okay. Don't follow my instructions. Let's hope we can salvage this. Maybe I should start the video again, but that defeats the purpose of showing you real quilting. When you read the instructions but you don't really understand them, they drop off pictures and you have to start again. I'm gonna have to get my good arm picker out. All right. So when it says follow it the same way, which, all right. So this instruction here, follow it the same way. Don't misread that as the same side. That's wrong. The good news at this point is probably a square, so I might have still be able to use this piece of fabric. I don't think you really need to see me unpick this. I think you know how to do that, although I don't think you're nearly as proficient at it or had frequency of it as I have. Okay, hang on, let me unpick this. All right, take 2. So what I'm going to do, all right, lesson number 1, don't start this block and then come back another day and try and finish it. Bad idea. Okay, I put a pin to the top. I've worked out it's the top because it's the only one that's got the neat bit. So following from the design, you always start at the top. So that's good news, is I can reuse this piece of fabric, that's fine. Okay, so you follow the first bit of instructions. I still don't understand why there's a lip, but we're gonna roll with it for now. So I have my lip, so I'm gonna line this side up to here. And there's my lip, so I'm just going to sew it down here. I'm going to keep this pin in until it becomes problematic for me, and then I'll work out what to do to label it as the up from there. Okay, here we go again. I will say, if you're using these ones, that top is silicone, so you can iron over it, so that's quite handy. All right. We're going to do the same thing again. Oh, my pin's moved. All right. So we're going to give it its little, careful now, because it's, well, I suppose it doesn't really matter at this point. I've got so much crap here. I have no coffee here though. I'm going to have to go turn on the coffee machine. All right. So we're going to give it a little lip. All right. So there's its little lip. And then I'm going to line it up on a line, and then I'm going to cut it on that line because I'm sick of having this in the way where I think it cuts it. All right, so I'm going to cut it on that line there, like that. I'm still lining this up. That's probably something I should point out. I know I look like I'm being really cavalier and sloppy, and like, I'm not saying I'm not being, but I am still lining up on that line, or on a line there, to keep this straight. I don't think it'll matter so much on this, but I've been known to be wrong. Okay, so get the right side of the fabric, right sides together, line it up, and then have this little lip. I assume that's where the little lip's supposed to go. Actually, I could be wrong on that. Yeah, no, the little lip's supposed to be where you start. Yeah, the little lip's where you start. Little lip's where you start. Yep, okay. I love this quilt. I love this block. This block's the best. All right, I'll be back. Okay. Now I assume we've already gone over setting your seams. And I think you do this naturally anyway, but you should always set your seams so you iron over it and then you iron it up. Why you should, I don't know. I read it somewhere. It makes sense though, and it is a lot nicer if you do it. And this very flimsy fabric, it is helping. Okay. Definitely going to get warped. Mine's going to be really wonky and weird at the end. Unlike you, I'm okay with that though. All right. So we're going to do the same thing again. Got the right side fabric. Okay. Stay tuned for a new cutting mat. Or maybe it'll be sunny soon. I can stick that in the sun. All right. So that's good. I'm going to cut it on that line. I guess this is why we have to, because now we have a scrap. All right, I can guarantee that's going to irritate me now, so I'm just going to move it up to the next line. All right, so the extra bit goes on this side. See, that annoys me. I don't want that. I'm going to leave it on there. I reckon that's what caused my... No, I'm not leaving it on there. This is where you have to make your own determination about whether or not this is appropriate. But my view on this is that is what gave me a yucky seam just before. I should do some attempt at keeping it neat. All right, I'm keeping it neat to my sewing lines, and I'm just going to trim off the extra bit. Someone, if anyone else is watching other than you, Mum, someone come after me in the comments about why that's necessary. But I don't think it is, and I don't want it. I'm just going to cut it off each time we put it there. All right, I'm going to sew that, and then I'll be back. All right. Yeah, it's much easier for me to sew it without it. Okay, so now we are on this last one, which seems like a waste, but it is, I guess it is what it is. The other one doesn't fit, so I'm gonna, oh, am I probably at the edge of what you can see, so I'll bring that back. Yeah, I'm gonna cut that on the 8 or the 9 or whatever, the 23. I'm going to cut off this extra bit while I'm here. Again, I'll line up with those. Oh. I don't know why it's there. Don't like it, not using it. Okay. Alright, I'm going to sew that. Definitely got it the right way up. Yep. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, coffee machine's on. Where it seems like tradition now to be sewing with something that annoys you. Alright. This is the one that, okay, this fabric is very similar in front and back, so be very careful. The pin is at the front. Yeah, this definitely helps if you just do this one block all at once. Okay, so it's telling me I need to do this line. So we will not screw it up like we've just done. Just gonna line that up there. Should probably check whether, oh, that's in your field of view. Yeah, that's in your field of view, that's good enough. Okay, so I'm going to cut it on that line. I'm going to, I don't know if you can actually do that, you'll be able to see. It's very close. So I get to have an alcoholic beverage at the end of this if I don't screw that up. All right, don't like my little extra bit. I suppose it's good in terms of if it's there you can make a line, but I don't want it there. Now something I'm noticing, because this fabric is so patterned, there's no white to line up with. When I'm taking it over to the machine, lining it up and spending a little bit of time over there, making sure that the edges are together. So, see how doing that. So may as well just do it here. And then I know it's together. All right. So yeah, I don't know at what point. I think this one was okay, but this one started getting a bit questionable. So for this one, I'm going to pin them. It's just so soft. Okay, look at that. Revenge of the Purple Pen. I am going to play that back. I do not remember seeing that. I'm not going to play it back now. I'll play back the video later. But as soon as I put heat on that, that blew out. I think. I don't remember seeing it. So, don't put the purple pen in the window. We're going to move that. And don't iron, I think, over the purple pen. Wait till the purple pen disappears. I don't know. Gonna have to look into that purple pen. It is the Sew Line Air Eraser. It is a beautiful pen, and I will continue to use it. I just may use it more responsibly going forward. I may. We both know I'm not going to. All right. So now we have to go this way, which is this way. Add a little. Chop a little. All right, I'm just going to go to that dotted line because I'm not fitting the rest of it on this one anyway. Okay, back this way. Make sure it's the right side of the fabric. I'm going to triple check to see if I can see any purple pen. I cannot. I'll get rid of that. I'm almost certain the next pause I'll be back with a coffee. But we're not there yet. All right. I'm loving these pins. I should find the link to them and put it in the comments. Well, comments? Bottom bit? I don't know. All right. I'll be back. Maybe not with coffee. All right. It's so much easier without that little dicky piece. Oof, that was nearly wrong. Okay. Also, don't confuse your pattern pieces. All right. We need to put a little extra on it, but not too much extra, so I'll put that there. I just had a moment of panic that it was the wrong side, but it's not. I do like the true cut. That is a really comfortable position to be in. I've demolished my blade though from, I don't know, I've hit it on something unintentionally. So I need to put a new blade on it. Oops. But it's a really comfy cutter. Don't worry, you don't need to buy one. You have one coming before the end of the year for either your birthday or Christmas. I have arranged that for you. Not from me though. From me, you're getting a quilt. Why? So I can keep making quilting videos for you. Also that you can make a quilt and I can make something else and still tell you about it. And then I think forever my videos are just going to be directed for you. Now mum, do this. Now mum, if you're making this, do this. My little dicky beast is getting smaller and smaller. I'm going to have to watch out for that. All right. I will be back with that sewn and a coffee. All right. One coffee to freak you out. Which is a caramel latte. I can't control that noise in the background, assuming you can hear it. I think there's a fatberg in the sewage line because the council's out there pumping it out. But they're on the other side. They were on our side of the road just before while I paused it. They're on the other side now. So hopefully that's not going to cause too much dramas for us. I'll check the toilets in a bit. All right, last time we had a blockage. It was the other street behind us, towards Coles, and it was a fatberg from someone's cooking. Well, not someone's, lots of people's cooking, pouring their fat down the drain. You'll be pleased to know since then I have not done that. We now pour it into bottles and throw it out. There's some sort of sachet thing you can get. I don't know what that is or where to get one or what it's called. All right. Fabric's in the right direction. As in to say it is right sides together. The next log in the cabin is done. We only have 2 more to go. All right, I'll be back. I'm actually going to put a third one in here now. It's starting to get a bit bigger, just to keep it stable. It's beautiful fabric, but Be interested to know how long this quilt's gonna last for, because it's so delicate. All right, that's looking kind of cute. It's very busy, but I suppose the one in the picture is also very busy. We'll have white sashing around it at the end. All right, log cabins are tedious. There's whole quilts made of this. I have no idea how they keep the lines straight. Okay. Now, I'm just moving that up a little bit so I remember. We are starting with this top again. So I'm just going to get rid of that little noggly bit now. For no real reason other than the fact that I just don't like it and it interrupts my sewing. Like a clean line. Line this up. I'm just going to pull it over a little bit. Yep. Alright, I'm going to cut it on that line up there. Haha! I have not taken my eyes off that line, so that's fine. No baby. Alright, make sure that's the right way again. Because that's under a 1/4 inch, I'm not worried about it. It'll go away when I sew this. I don't think it'll bleed any further than it has. I don't think it'll go away with air like it's supposed to, but I don't think it'll bleed anymore. And if it does, I don't think you'll be able to tell. It's so fine. I like piecing on my wool mat, but this one has so much cutting, it's kind of pointless putting the wool mat under. I'm obviously getting a little too fine on that noggly bit, but since I chop it off anyway, I'm not that worried. It's still there, that's good enough. All right, isn't that pretty? Not that first one, but the rest of them are pretty. I'll be back once I've sewn it. Yeah, I'll keep filming the whole thing, just in case I run into any unusual issues. This is not, I mean, it's easy, but it's not that easy. So pretty. So pretty. Alright, that noggly bit barely exists, so don't worry about that one. I'll line this up, rotate it, line it up, and then I'm just, yep, gonna go on the dotted line, which is, well, I screwed that up because I looked away from the dotted line. That dotted line. Oh dear. Alright, I'm going to have to move some stuff because that's getting a bit crowded there. Alright, we're still good for the dotted line. We'll start on that side. I think they might have stopped pumping. As long as we don't see the water people here, only the council people, I think it's fine. Okay, let's go sew it. Okay. I think fabric 3 might be my favorite fabric so far that I've seen. Or at least that I've spent any time with. I'm sure as we get further on there'll be others, but okay, first things first, I'm going to get rid of my noggly bit. I believe they call it an overhang. I believe they call it, it's in my way. Yeah, that's the side we want. That's pretty good. I might just leave it and cut it on that darker line. Oop, my lining's turning off, my iron is turning off. All right, we know the drill. Wonder if there's a log cabin in the community quilt. I don't think there would be based on the shapes that we've got to use. All right, oh, I already have our next little sew along quilt project. All right, I'll be back. All right, did I press that? Yep. Okay, tidy this up. Almost on the last one. I'm just gonna line that one up there. Gets a bit easier actually once they're a bit bigger or a bit longer. It's easier to hold. The quilt's got, well, the block's got more body to it. The cuts just seem to sit better. All right. Once we've done this, we're on to our lucky last fabric. All right. While I was off camera, I just tidied up all the noogly all the noogly bits to make it easier for me. Gotta fix that. I'm a little wonky, but not too much. I think if I go like that, I'm alright. But at the end of the day, it has a lot of seams. It has a lot of things going in different directions. And you need a quilt with personality instead of having one that looks like it's AI generated. I'm going off that one there. If it were perfect, it wouldn't be handmade. All right, remembering to start where we put that pin. That pin is a lifesaver. All right, and then this will be the first one of the last row. Yeah, I shall be back. Need to get a little remote thing so I don't have to keep stretching up. All right, that's cute. It's a very busy quilt though. A very busy block. I don't know how you call it a quilt. All right, we're just gonna. Okay. Yep. Pretty neat. All right. Well, okay. I shall be back again. Hadn't pressed pause yet. All right. We're on the home stretch. I have to take a sneak peek at what the next block is. Alright, it gets really hard to see where the reds are together. It's probably the hardest fabric to see so far. Yep, I've got it in there. Alright, second last. Okay. Lucky last. Look at that. It was like they designed it that way. I'm just going to trim off that little muggly bit. It's ever so slight, but I don't like it all the same. Alright, lucky last piece, which means that pin can come out. Alright, continue the remaining strips until you have the block as shown. No, there's nothing on the next page. Alright, I'll sew and I'll be back. Alright, one log quilt block. Quilt block. Ooh, that's a bit, doesn't matter. Bit wonky. That's the right side up, yep, I think. Yep, that's the right side. Not quite square. Not that that really matters. I mean, that definitely matters, but it doesn't matter to me. Yours will be neater. Okay. Alright, trim evenly down the whole block to 6.5 by 6.5 square. If it's not this size already, press and store safely. Alright, I'm not trimming any of them down until the end. Tip, this log cabin block construction method is best suited to small log cabins only. Larger log cabins must have all fabric cuts cut precisely and ease together for the best results. Okay. Block 6. Block 6 is a simple cross. That's kind of nice. Standard seams. Let's see what our fabric is for block 6, because I don't remember seeing fabric like that. This is how I store my quilt, by the way. So I think this I'm supposed to print for the applique templates. That's our first lot of white fabric. This is our white fabric that is going to be used in our second cutting guide. But I have to use this cutting guide and you have to use the one I fixed, as I have fixed my errors along the way, but I've not used it. This is also the first cutting guide, which was a bad idea, is fixed now. Hopefully. I've got to get through a few more blocks, hopefully. Now I can already see a problem that's going to have to be recut because of the purple on it. I actually think a lot of these white ones for block 6 are going to be a problem. Yeah. Alright, well, we've learned a lot about the purple and how not to do this. So, we already know that we can buy more fabric. So, I will go and inspect all of these, see what we've got, but this is what we're going to make. So this is the fabric for block 6. That will be nice. I'll take this out. Alright, there's no point me filming me fixing up my mistakes, unless you would like me to film fixing up my mistakes, but it's just going to be me cutting strips out wherever there is a purple mark outside of a 1/4 inch. Oh dear. Alright, well, my mistakes are your future successes, so we're not sad about them. We're not sad at all. I'll see you for block 6 shortly.